Today, I'm sitting down with 5 high school seniors who are just getting ready to apply to college to figure out what exactly were their trials and tribulations, hardships, failures, but also their successes. I'm here to figure out what exactly have they done to get where they are, to start stumbling their path to success, because that's the only way to get there. My name is Shivansh Bansal. I hope this motivates you to get where you need to be, to get started, to get working. This is the Kickstart podcast. Let's go. We're gonna start off with something I like to call a lightning round, some rapid fire questions for all 5 of you. Let's try to bang these out as fast as we can. All right. This is the yes or no one, so you guys can just go yes or no. Question, is multitasking a myth or is it possible?
I'd say it's possible.
Yeah,
Possible.
I'd say it's possible.
I'd say it's possible, yeah.
I'm gonna say no. It didn't really work for me.
All right. So we got a couple of possibles and we got one no. All right. Next, let's just go down the line. Same order as the first, as the introductions. All right. Favorite animal. Start with you, Nathan.
Favorite animal has to be a tiger.
Laksh.
Cheetah.
Anurag.
Probably like a dog.
Arvin.
Tiger, shark.
Hey, okay, that's another one. And Kishore.
Tardigrade.
So what now?
Tardigrade.
Tardigrade. Okay, that's interesting. Never heard of that one before. Oh, 1 second. Let's just get this portion. Dogs. Join the fireside chat. All right. Favorite sport. Same order.
Favorite sport? I mean, I'm joining varsity swim soon, so swim is my sport.
Swim. Got you.
Swimming.
Swim.
I've played varsity football, so football.
Oh, okay. Swims and football.
Soccer.
Soccer. Okay.
Yeah, varsity soccer, so soccer.
Okay. So we got 2 swims, 2 soccers, and a football. All right. And last 2. Let's go. Favorite vacation spot. What's your favorite vacation spot?
Favorite vacation spot? I'd have to say probably Spain.
Spain.
By the
That's
beach.
a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta go with Maui. Hawaii.
Maui. Yes. Anurag?
I'd probably go with Maui too, to be honest.
Maui. Okay, we getting some Mauis in here. Arvin?
I'll go with couch.
That's awesome. Couch. Sure.
Yeah, I have nothing specific, but something like a beach or like a large water body.
That's great. That's great. And last one, what do you guys want to study in college?
All right, so I'm thinking about a mix between business and computer sciences. So probably a dual major at that.
All right.
Yeah, I'll probably go down the similar path of business, but probably more focused on that instead of the engineering side.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna do like a dual major as well. Business and aerospace engineering.
That's great.
I'm thinking about bioengineering, but I might change after I get into college and get experience in the field. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Engineering.
I'm also thinking about bioengineering, probably the pre-med track, but if that doesn't work out, I'll just go like an engineering pathway, I guess.
Dang, y'all really have an interesting idea, and it's nice that you guys have it sorted out. I know a lot of seniors who don't really have an idea, and they're, you know what, I'll just play it by the seat of my pants. Just not play it by ear. They're just ready to fly in undecided and hope it works out. All right, now let's get on to the actual questions, right? So no lightning round, but yeah. So this question is mainly for Nathan, Kishore, and Laksh. All right, looking back, you guys are all seniors, right? You guys each have a different perspective to offer, right? So if you could go back to your freshman year and give your freshman self one message, what would it be?
For me personally, I think I'd give my freshman self a message saying, don't leave everything to the last minute. Because for me, what I used to do is I used to procrastinate a lot. And I used to do fun stuff over the day, weekdays, and leave all my stuff to the weekend. And that would create more pressure and more pressure for myself. So yeah, probably lay things out a little bit.
All right, no, don't procrastinate. All right. Kishore, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I have almost the exact same story. Reduce the procrastination and put more focus on meaningful things that would affect you 2 years in the future as opposed to what you want to do right now, have fun or whatever.
Tell me a bit more about that one. What do you mean meaningful?
By meaningful, when I was in freshman year, I never knew anything about the college application pathway. I always thought that I'd figure it out later. But once I saw people around me start clubs and get into that path, I never like got ahead into that path. But looking back at my freshman self, I would have encouraged him to like do more, I guess.
Yeah, and Lux.
Yeah, probably just not to stress out too much about a lot of the things we do in high school, like assignments, tests, but also like now heading into college apps. Obviously, it is pretty stressful for lots of seniors, but I think taking trying to have some fun with it, trying to incorporate different aspects that that you enjoy outside of school, like some activities. Like me and Nathan, we both like to swim, so getting that in as well, and just having that balance between work and fun, because trust me, you're going to need it at times when it gets really, really bad with the work.
Got you. That's great, man. Like really like that. Do either one of you two have anything you want to add to that, or shall we move on?
Yeah, I just had a quick thing. I'd probably tell my freshman self to just stop making excuses and like instead of like trying to like hold myself back and like actually fully commit to all the challenges that I like took on.
Yeah. I'd probably just add that like, in middle school, I guess a lot of things are kind of handed on a plate and put in front of you. In high school, like you kind of want to like don't wait. I'm sure if you played any sports, you've heard the saying like don't wait for the ball to come to you, you go to the ball, right?
Yeah.
So kind of like that, like go grab the opportunities, don't wait for them to come into your hand.
All right, so kind of in line with the whole high school theme, so that's what this is about. You mentioned, I know Lux mentioned a decent bit about the stress and the work that comes every day. So did Nathan a bit. What would a typical day for you guys look like?
Are we talking about the weekdays or the weekends?
Well, let's stick to weekdays. Weekends are a bit chaotic. This one's
weekdays.
Yeah.
I think my day starts at I wake up at 6.
Okay, early riser.
I get to school, and then I'm coming home. I get home at like 4:30, and then 4:30 to 5:30, I pretty much just like have the day to myself. I have that time to myself, like like chill out, like have some time away from school work, and then from 5:30 to 8, like I go full on, like I leave everything, I go full on into work, get that done, and then have anything I need for the weekend or for the upcoming days, I get that done with as well. So I think it's mainly like doing your work ahead of time, not waiting last minute. So yeah, it's pretty much my day.
Also, quickly, just wanted to add to a comment in the chat. All of these guys, all of our presenters are here from Foothill or Dublin High School. All right. Anyone else have anything they want to? Let's move to the Kishore.
Yeah. So my typical day starts out like I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, just like Nathan, and I usually do my homework that I hadn't finished the previous day early in the morning, but that's only if I do have some. And once after that, I get ready and go to school. And when I come back, I usually have soccer right after school, or I do this tutoring thing at the end of school. But if that doesn't happen, I just go straight into my homework, finish as much of it as possible, and then just relax the rest of the day.
All right. And then Arvind, what about you?
So this is like a more recent thing, but I've been going to the gym like before school. So I like usually wake up at like 5:30. And
Okay.
if I'm not going to the gym, then I like just do my homework that I haven't done the day before. And similar to Kishore, I mean, we're brothers. So we go to soccer like immediately after school, or we're peer tutoring. And I usually try to do my homework as soon as I get home. And I finish my homework at around, I mean, I say the latest I stay up is like 11, and I'm usually done by like 9:30 or 10, and then I spend like half an hour and then just go to bed at like 10:30 or 11.
All right, and Anurag.
So I guess I kind of wake up later than a lot of these guys over here. They wake up at like 6 o'clock. I wake up at like anywhere between 7 to 7:30, because I wake up and I usually try to make sure I have no homework in the morning, because mornings are like really bad for me because like I'm not a morning person.
Yeah.
So I wake up kind of late, and then I go to school. I picked a really good schedule this year, so school's usually anywhere like on Wednesdays we have late start at 9 o'clock. So on all the other days it's 8:30 to anywhere between like 12 and 2, because some days I end at 12, some days I end at 2, and Wednesdays and on Fridays I end at 11:30. So it's like my school ends really early, but right after school I usually don't go home. I go straight to the gym, and then I spend like maybe 2.5, 3 hours at the gym. And then after I come back from the gym, that's like I spend maybe an hour like winding down, I guess, and like eating dinner and just like relaxing for a little bit. And then I spend like the next 2.5 hours finishing up any homework I have. And usually I don't have a lot of homework when I come home because of the way I plan my time. And I finish up most of my homework in school. So when I come home, I just finish up whatever I didn't finish up, and then I just maybe watch some TV, and then I go to sleep around like 11:30. But yeah.
Hey, wow, you all got some pretty stressful days going on. Like, I always heard about that the legendary senioritis, where once you get to senior year, it all starts to wind down. But I guess not. I mean, in the theme of that, like relaxation, I guess. What do you guys like to do for fun, or when you're relaxing?
For me personally, since I'm a swimmer, I love to hit the grind, love to hit the pool, swim. I think swimming like takes my mind off things at school. Like helps me like cool down, like get in the moment, and I enjoy it. And then normally when I can't swim, I normally play basketball. Same thing, basketball like helps me get my mind off things, hang out with friends usually. But yeah, swim or basketball.
Yeah, Lux.
Yeah, I mean, same as Nitin. I pretty much spend a lot of time. I spend a lot of time swimming, but also just like I do like to play video games a lot. Most of my time is spent playing Halo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get that. All right. I want to drop this one back to Anurag. So you mentioned like out of all these guys' schedule, right? Nathan, he has that time between like 5:30 to 8 built in for homework, right?
Mhm.
But you have, I think you mentioned you had 1 hour outside of school to just like, that's only for homework. And that's probably the least I've heard out of all these guys. What do you do to get your homework done on time? And like
So in
a quick
school,
manner?
I don't know if Hill does this, but maybe Laksh knows. Dublin High has these things called Gale periods, where basically like you can just it's for you. It's like you use your time how you need it. Like you be smart with your time. You want to do work, do work. You want to go fool around, go fool around. You want to just sit there and like scroll TikTok, you can do that too. It's up to you. I personally choose to spend my Gale period. I choose to spend it like just knocking out as many homework assignments as possible. Like I try to do, and like on block days we have like 1.5 hours of like this Gale period thing. So I literally just in that 1.5 hours I just knock out everything. And then I'm also a TA, like a teacher's assistant. And during that period, if there's no work to do for that teacher, then I just sit and do my homework again. So I have almost like 3 hours in a day in a school day to just finish up all my homework. So I usually get everything done in school, like all my important stuff, or sometimes I'll even get it done in class itself. Like for my math homework, our teacher will just be like, "Oh, lesson's done early today, guys. If you want to work on your homework, work on it." And so I'll take advantage of that time and finish up almost all of my homework in class. So I kind of finish up all my homework in school, as contradictory as that sounds.
Yeah. Now I want to hear from Nathan, Arvind, or Kishore, because like Lux, you also get the whole Gale period thing, right? DHS. But
Yeah.
all of us at Foothill, we don't have that. So I want to know what you three do to get your homework done, like without having to cram and spend all your time doing it.
For me, I think so. We have like same. I think Wednesdays and Thursdays we have access.
Yeah.
Access are usually like it depends how you spend it. Like if you want to have fun, you can have fun, or you can do work. Normally Wednesdays, Thursdays, I do work during access. So when I come home, I have a little bit more time to myself. But I mean, I get that still 2-3 hours of solid work in. Either that's writing college essays or like, doing work for other classes or like keeping up on top of my units that are coming along. So yeah, and then on normal days, pretty much yeah, just come home. I mean, not like get right into it, but like have an hour or two to myself and then like get back into it.
All right. Anyone else have anything they want to add to that one, or should we move on?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. It's just that make use of the time that teachers give you in class, because a lot of teachers give you time to finish the homework up during class.
Yeah. All right. Arvind, this one's going to be for you. You said make time to get it done in class, but that means when we're in class, you've got to be moving pretty quick. So how are you like getting your notes done efficiently? Like, do you have a couple efficient note taking techniques?
So personally, I don't study with my notes, but one thing I do is while I'm taking notes in class, the main reason I do it is to sort of help me remember, because I feel like if I just look at the teacher and like listen, I might forget it later, and I feel like writing sort of imprints it in my memory. And most of the time, I just go through the textbook for studying. But a few good note taking tips is to not write hard information down and come up with sort of connections between topics instead of just writing down important dates and those kind of things. And it's especially helpful for AP and honors classes.
Anyone else have anything they want
I'll
to add?
probably add on to that. Like what I do most of the time is, let's say you're in history, for example, and you're writing down what's on the board. Normally, I would do like summarize in your own words and put it down on a paper, then copy it word for word. Because if you do that, normally you wouldn't understand it properly. And for me personally, like when I put it in my own words, I know what's happening, I know what's going on, and then when I go home, I know what to study for. So yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. You mentioned honors and APs. One of you two, I think it was Arvind.
Yeah.
Mentioned the honors and APs. Yeah. What's the difference between studying for like regular classes versus honors classes versus APs?
I mean, I think one class that demonstrates it the most is like history, because like in a regular history class, you just be learning, say like dates, like this happened and this happened. You wouldn't necessarily learn like, so in AP classes, you learned why a certain event caused something else or the connections between them. You wouldn't just be learning the facts and sort of regurgitating them on the paper. You'd be forced to like sort of think about how the events are connected and sort of develop skills that make you better at history, I guess.
Sure. I want to ask you this one about honors classes, right? Arvind answered APs pretty well, but what about like, let's say you're taking like honors math or honors English or something like that, is because APs, it's a lot more defined, right? But what about an honors class? Because those have a lot less expectations, don't they?
Yeah. So personally, I haven't taken too many honors classes. I have more experience with AP classes. But from what I've heard is that honors classes are, they are honors, so they're more difficult than normal classes. But similar to AP classes, the teachers don't expect, they don't force work onto you. They expect you to do your own work. So like this is very similar to AP classes in the sense that they expect you to do stuff on your own. They expect you to take initiative. Like they don't put that much emphasis by like spilling out worksheets. They want you to understand it yourself.
All right. That's
One thing I wanted to add, I guess, to the whole AP honor regular course thing. So many times I've seen like younger kids, like they're like, oh my God, honors AP, that sounds so cool. I want to take it and like boost my GPA. One thing I'll ask of you guys is to know what you're getting into. Don't take an AP for the sake of an AP. That's a mistake I made when I was in 10th grade. I took honors chemistry for the sake of the honors, and that completely screwed me over. Because like I'm genuinely not at all interested in chemistry. I just took honors chemistry because it was one of the only few available honors classes for me, and I was like, you know what, maybe I'll just take it and have fun. Let's see how it goes. It's not fun if you're not interested in it. To only take an honors or AP if you're genuinely interested in pursuing like that subject, or if you're genuinely like interested in that field. Like there's no point in taking an honors or an AP if it has no relevance to your interests and things like that.
That's a really good perspective that not many people offer. Most people just say take as many honors and APs as you can. I know I've heard that from a decent amount of YouTube college gurus, some college counselors. So it's nice to be offered a different perspective. But like it's like what you said, right? If you're taking a class of an honors or an AP class that you have no interest in, it's going to be a really hard class. But maybe you have a friend who's taking one said classes, and how do you help them is my question. Like, how would you go about helping that friend who's in said class or even in a regular class? How would you help them not struggle to keep their grades? Let's go to
One
Nick
thing
for
to
this.
do is
Yeah.
oh,
Perfect.
then go ahead. Yeah.
So for me, so I moved from IB to AP. So IB classes are a little bit harder than AP classes. And I know like some friends were like struggling to do IB classes, but what they did the most was they kept everything for the last minute. And so what I told them and what I did myself is I keep everything down on a planner. So like managing your time effectively, like putting whatever courses or what classes you have to do in a planner, keeping everything up to schedule, like it really helps you. And even in class, like don't fool around, pretty much just like keep your head into that workspace. Yeah, do the work in class is what I would say if you tell a friend.
All right. Anyone else want to add anything?
Yeah, I just had one thing to say. So just don't send your friends answers. I mean, it's really not helping anyone. It's kind of like a lose-lose situation. Instead, like sort of point them in the right direction and probably check in with them later to see if they've got it yet. If they haven't, just do a quick phone call. Don't take too much time out of your day, but just sort of hint at what they should be doing. Don't give them the answers because like they're not going to understand it and it could be detrimental to you. So just point them in the right direction. Don't like send answers, I guess.
Yeah. So to add on to that, what you're saying, Arvin, sometimes obviously, if they're in like a class that they don't necessarily like, right, they're not going to be motivated, or they're not going to want to do the work for that class. And I think explaining like certain concepts or that they should also know as well, and just kind of getting them on that right track might get them remotivated again, because a lot of the time it's like a lack of confidence as well. Like they think that they are just not good at the class, so they just don't try. But like helping them understand like that one really hard concept could make a world of difference for them and like get them back on track. And then at that point, they'll be self-motivated again. So that's one thing that I've done in the past.
All right. Now I want to change gears a bit here. Just making sure no one has anything else they want to add.
Someone mentioned in chat, what was the difference in IB and AP course? For me, IB courses, I'd say IB kind of helps you like understand knowledge in high school. Like it pretty much just like prepares you for, it like kind of like helps you learn what's there here. And AP courses kind of prepare you for college and like how workload is going to be, kind of puts you on there more directly. And another thing is AP, I've heard AP courses, you don't have to take the test if you don't want to. Whereas IB courses, you have to take the test anyway. So yeah, that's pretty much the only difference, I'd say.
All right. Now I want to change gears here. Here's a question that I've been asked many times by friends, but I don't usually have a good answer. Let's go a bit quick on this, like try to bang this question out lightning round almost, because I want to hear from all of you on this. What are 2 to 3 time management tips or tricks you got?
All right. For me, I remember what I said earlier about the planner. The planner definitely helps me out. It helps me keep everything in order. Secondly, blocking out distractions. Like I know a lot of high school people, they always get addicted to the phone and always on social media 24/7. What I do most of the time is I leave the phone with downstairs or with my mom. So that like kind of helps me get into gears and everything. And then thirdly, like keeping a whiteboard or a schedule for yourself, like knowing what time is like for yourself, what time you have for schoolwork, and like what time do you have for the rest, like, yeah, having something adequate to keep in mind is my technique.
One thing quickly, you mentioned a planner. What kind of a planner is it? Like, is it the basic school planner? Is it?
So yeah, the school provided. If you go to Poha at least, the school provided us planners at the start of the school year. So I pretty much just use that to keep everything in order, because it like mention the times, dates, if you completed it or not. That's for in school though. When I go home, I have a whiteboard for myself. What I created like a whole schedule for myself. So whenever I'm done with work, I just look straight. I have my schedule all set up to know when to do what.
Lux or Anurag, does the DHS have the same thing? Do they give you a planner?
Yeah,
for purchase.
We did have, or Anurag, do you want to go?
You can go. It's fine.
Yeah, so we in freshman year they did give us a planner. They gave every freshman a planner, but then since then, like they didn't just hand them out for free. Like if you wanted one, you'd have to like actually go and purchase it. So I think, just I guess like Nathan was mentioning, like a lot of times like we're on our phones. So personally, like I just have like a notebook that I have like on my phone because I do use that a lot. So I pretty much just have all the things that I have to do on there. And another big thing when it comes to time management is prioritization. Like rather than just listing out all the different things that I have to do, I list them out in the order that's like most important to do. So number one is the like first most important thing that I have to do, all the way down to the least important. And basically what that does is like you make sure that everything that is really important that you have to get done, that definitely gets done. And that way it also like takes a lot of the stress out of it and you get it out of the way and you can move on.
Gotcha. To-do list type thing. One quick thing, Kishore, did we lose Arvin?
I'm not too sure because he's in a different room, but
Okay, all right.
yeah.
All right. If you find out, just let me know. All right. Anyone else have
Yeah, I'm
any
still here.
time management? Oh, you're still here. Good. All right. Anyone else have any time management tips, tricks? Right. Like I heard to-do list type thing from Blux.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, do everything as soon as possible instead of like as late as possible. Like if a teacher signs something next week, don't say I have till next week to do it. Just because it's assigned right now, just try and finish it as soon as possible, or spread it through the entire week instead of doing it the day before it's due.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I
similarly to
would
add
definitely agree
on.
with that. Or
Oh,
go
you
ahead.
can go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, basically I agree with like what Kishore just said. And I actually really like what Locke said too. Prioritization is a very important thing. And another thing that I think is really helpful, especially for the modern generation with their phones and all that, put your phone on do not disturb. Just like I have my phone permanently on do not disturb. Like it's never not on do not disturb because I find the only reason I ever use my phone is because a notification pops up and I'm like, oh, I gotta see who it is. I gotta see who texted me. I gotta see what this notification is, and then I go and grab my phone. And then it's basically a rabbit hole you fall down into. You go to check the notification, text your friend, and then you're like, oh, let me check my other friend, and then you just like you go down this like loophole. So what I do is my phone is permanently on do not disturb. I never get any notifications on my home screen. I check my phone when I want to, not I check my phone when my phone wants me to check it. Like that's just the way I look at it.
All right. Well, on that note, do not disturb. Okay. I just turned it on just to make sure. All right. Anyone else?
Yeah, so same thing with what Kishore said. When you say like if you have work for 1 week or 2 weeks later, don't keep it for the last minute. Like at least like have it done so that when you come on class on Monday, you have everything like already done with. You can move on. Same for tests as well. If a teacher announces you have a test in 2 weeks, don't study the week before that week or study the night before. It never really helps you out. So yeah, pretty much like do the work before. Study for IB. Sorry for study for test before it comes up.
All right. Okay, so we mentioned social media a bit. I know Anurag started the discussion on that. How do you guys handle social media distractions? Like, do you guys use Apple screen time or something like that? Or how do you guys do it?
So what Anurag said with do not disturb, I do that. I keep my phone do not disturb every single time. Because like for me, I think it's just like if a notification pops up, I go on it. So yeah, if I keep my phone on do not disturb, that usually helps. Also what I said about like leaving my phone downstairs or like leaving with my mom, because my mom like ensures that it's kept away from me when I'm studying. So like I think yeah, that's what's best. Or if you don't want your mom to have your phone, just like keep it somewhere in a safe place downstairs. So yeah.
I think
Okay,
another
so yeah,
thing
one
that
thing
could. Oh, go ahead.
one thing to add is just like if you wanted to, you could have your parents put you on screen time just to keep you accountable because like if you are in control of it, you might just start like allowing yourself more screen time, I guess. So it's nice to have someone to keep you accountable for that. Or you could just not have social media, which is what I do. The only social media I use is YouTube. And yeah, I'm not really on that a lot. You could try like a 35-minute split or something where you do like 30 minutes of studying per 5 minutes on social media or something similar to that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to
that
add on,
definitely works. Things like that definitely works. I think another way of, I guess, tuning out, because like I see there's two types of distraction: social media distraction, obviously, and the easiest thing for that is do not disturb. Like it's actually a blessing. I used to not believe in it, and then I tried it, and then I was like, this is definitely the way to go. And ever since then, I've never like I think my phone's been on do not disturb for like probably like 8 or 9 months straight now, and I've never gone back. And then like the other type of distraction is, sometimes when I'm doing my homework, like my parents are talking downstairs, my sister's talking, the dog's barking, someone rings the doorbell. I just put my like headphones in or anything really, close the room door, whatever, and like just tune it all out, like noise cancellation. And I just go like full deep dive into my work. And like that's the best way to tune out any distractions like at all.
All right. I heard someone else trying to talk when I
Yeah,
interrupted.
Kishore, I think you wanted to say
Yeah.
something.
So
Sorry.
similar to Arvin, I do not have any social media. Like the closest thing I have to social media is an Instagram I got this year, and that was only to follow colleges for demonstrated interest. But like I feel like people feel like social media is like something you have to get onto. But I survived high school like without going through social media, and I don't feel like I've missed anything. So if you get the opportunity, like just don't even take it unless like you feel the need to. Then you just restrain yourself. Just do it yourself.
Would the rest of you guys agree with that you can make it through high school without social media?
It's
Um,
agree to disagree.
It
Oh,
kind of,
you know what? Let's go down the list on this one. Nitin,
Yeah.
yes or no?
It's agree to disagree. I'd say no. I can survive with social media. Like social media is like a big part of my life because like I moved from Sweden to USA. So like just like keep up with Swedish friends, I think I use Snapchat the most. But like when I was in Sweden, I really never used social media. I used to text my friends or call them most of the time. But no, I'd say I cannot survive without social media.
Arvin.
Yeah, I say it's definitely possible. Just like find alternative ways to contact your friends.
Kishore, you already mentioned your point of view. Laksh?
yeah, I personally would think not. Like I personally have like a lot of like people that generally I don't really have their numbers, but I can contact them through social media, which is important, I guess. It's the like how you use it. It is very easy to like get into a rabbit hole with social media. But I think, just having like some sort of restriction and only going, like Anurag said, like going on it when you want to or like if you need to, and then like immediately turning it back off again. It's probably the best way to go.
All right, and Anurag.
So I'm gonna have to like kind of also agree with like Laksh and Nitin that social media is a very powerful tool if used the right way, and it could also be a very powerful tool used the wrong way as well. I think it's something you're gonna need, you're gonna want in high school because you want to make connections because that's what high school is about, making these lifelong connections with new people, meeting new people. Because I find almost all of my information about school, about college stuff, about outside opportunities, sports, those type of things. I find that all on my phone. Like I read, if I have to read something, it's on my phone. Like my phone is like all my social media stuff has like these type of informations on it, and so that's why I'd say it's like really important to me. And I think for a lot of people, it's also really important too.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, just give me 1 second.
Mhm.
Okay, so one thing I completely neglected to notice, our chat is going. It's seriously, it's blowing up a little bit. All right, let's start from the top. Okay, how do you guys manage extracurriculars and clubs and stuff like that?
All right, so I'm a swimmer. In Sweden, I was a division swimmer. And then coming to America, I'm a varsity swimmer. So like, I think for me, in Sweden, it was really messed up because I had trainings 3 hours a day and I ended school at 5. So it'd be like 6 to 9 would be training, 8:30 to 5 would be school, coming home doing work. It's honestly really stressful. I do most of my work at school in Sweden because they usually give you that end 30 minutes to do your work. But coming to America, I think what I used to do is I used to make my weekends go efficiently, actually doing the work for the week during the weekends. Honestly, I know that's a lot of pressure, but like I think for me it just works because I swim most of the week. So like I think I get more tired coming back from trainings and everything. So I do most of my things during the weekend and then most of my things right after school.
All right, anyone else have anything they want to add?
I feel like
Yeah,
an
just make
important
sure you plan everything.
yeah. I
Plan
feel like an
every.
important thing is the extracurriculars you take have to be like meaningful to you. So like they're not like something you have to do. They're something that you want to do. So they're not really on your list. There's something like a break from school. Like for me, soccer, and I also did like two sports, freshman year, cross country and soccer at the same time, which meant practice after school every day. But that wasn't really a hindrance to me. It's more like a break from school. So if you take it in that point of view, extracurriculars are more helpful than they're harmful.
All right. Anyone else? No. All right. Let's move on. What about clubs? Clubs. I mean,
Alright.
honestly, just yes or no, did any of you guys find clubs hard to manage in general?
So I did MUN. I did boot camp over the
Okay.
weekend. Me and Siobhan was hitting it pretty hard. So MUN, I think it's a great club, really recognized by colleges. So like what Kishore said, like doing a club that like is really meaningful for you and going forward in life. I think MUN has an impact on you because you get to meet a variety of different people around the world. For me, and especially because I did international conferences, you get to meet new people. You get to go on different college campus tours and stuff like that. I think just like managing my clubs, like doing the work when it's given and not keeping it last moment so I have more time for schoolwork, that always works for me.
Yeah, I also so like Nitin's part of Model UN. We have that at our school. We also have DECA, which I'm sure a lot of you might be familiar with. DECA is a really powerful club too, because you know it's like if you're passionate about business and things like that, it's really fun and it's really powerful. And like Nitin said, like these type of clubs, you get to meet a lot of new people, and it can also be really beneficial to your college, like your college journey as well. Because like in April, May, I forgot exactly when I went to Atlanta because I qualified for the international competition, and just because I qualified, I got $1,000 scholarship for college. So it's like you know these clubs can be really really powerful, and they can honestly do a lot more than what just a regular course at school could do for you. So definitely explore into clubs. That's my 2 cents.
All right. Anyone else?
Yeah, I feel like a really important thing, like freshman year, I had no idea of the importance of clubs, but then as I've gone through high school, looking at all the clubs springing around me, I've seen that clubs are really important in like not only like growing as a person, but also like exploring your own interests. Because if there isn't a club that's interesting to you, you could just like make one. And like managing a club honestly isn't that hard. Like both me and my brother are right now officers of the biotechnology club at Foothill High School. And it's not been like that taxing of an experience, and it's more fun than it is harmful. So yeah, similar to extracurriculars.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. What about volunteer hours?
Oh
What are you guys
yeah,
like
so
doing for those? Yeah.
I think a lot of people, especially like a bunch of juniors, sophomores, freshmen, seniors, they find it really hard on where to volunteer. For me, I did most of my volunteer hours at the temple. The temple is a great place. They have a lot of work to do and San Ramon. So obviously, like I recommend that place personally. Also, like there's a community center out by Dublin. Great to volunteer there. You could cook, you could help kids out, you can help like old age people out. I think yeah, I mean do something that like is interesting to you and not for the hours. Because like if you do something that's boring, I mean obviously you're stuck with it. But like I think you said do something fun. Like I was a swim coach, obviously helping me on volunteer hours because I love to swim. So yeah, just do something that's fun and meaningful to you, I guess.
I think yeah. Also, finding a lot of clubs they do offer volunteer hours. So I think if you like find a club that you're really interested in and that does offer it, you should definitely go ahead and take the opportunity as well, because it's like knocking two birds out with one stone. You get that opportunity with the club and meeting all these like different people and getting these new experiences, learning more about yourself. Whereas, like, and you're also getting to help other people out as well. So that's also another great experience.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that. So just make sure you're volunteering somewhere where you enjoy it, because like when you're writing about your volunteer hours, the colleges really have no way to verify it. So if you're saying it in your essays, you really need to be able to write about what made that experience special to you. And it's not like there's like a specific limit, like, oh, you need to have 100+ hours. It's like you need to be doing something that's meaningful to you. And it doesn't even have to be volunteering. You could even work as a coach or as a referee. It just has to be something meaningful to you.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's come back to the chat questions in a bit. Moving on, let's change a bit directions here. This happened to me a decent bit last year, and I had a lot of other people. I knew a lot of other people. If you guys are at Foothill and you know Miss Ritchie, or if you went to Fallon Middle School and you know Miss Lightbody, it definitely happens when grades just come crashing down. What do you guys do when that happens?
All right, for me, I think, okay, so there's two different aspects to this. When you're writing essays and your grade falls on essays, just look at your comments. Normally, what teachers comment on your essays are really meaningful moving forward. So like, obviously, like take a hold of the comments that are being said. And if you have any questions, ask them about it. Don't like kind of take the comment, shy it away. Kind of use it for yourself moving forward. And then for tests, same thing. Comments, always ask the teacher if you have a question for a specific problem. Don't like keep it going, because if you keep it going, like obviously you're not going to understand it moving on. So yeah, just ask your teacher if you need any help, and study harder next time.
Yeah, so a lot of teachers, they host like office hours, like periods where you can, like dedicated periods where you can come in and ask questions on things that you've been struggling on. Obviously, there is the thing that like some teachers, obviously you'd feel like, hey, you know, if they're a good teacher, or even if like they're a bad teacher, right? Like you can go to those. But if you don't feel like comfortable going to that teacher because you don't really like them, one thing I found is like getting a good study group in the class, or like having friends who are in other periods, creating study groups with them does really help, because it's like all of you guys working on one goal, you know, earning a good grade in that class, and also just obtaining the learnings from it. So those are two good things, office hours and then study groups.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that when it comes to like hard teachers that like say like take off half credit for like not putting like your units on your answer or something like that, just don't give them the chance to take points off. Like just go extra on everything. If it's like showing, if it means showing an extra step, it's not gonna like hurt you to just write an extra step, or like make sure you have the units in every single place. So just one thing that goes is just like make sure you're doing every single thing that they could possibly take off a point for.
You know, I want to transition right off that into our next question. It's something we had written up, but it seems like Class A Cupertino, one of our attendees, also had the same question. How do you deal with bad teachers like that? Because, like, say you've got an easy grader versus a hard grader, because that happens a lot. I think one of the U.S. history teachers at Dublin has the same problem, right? Or like say you've got one teacher, they're both hard graders, but one's just a bad teacher, or they don't teach, for example, they don't grade on time. They favor students. They don't pay attention to questions. How do you handle those kind of teachers?
If it's all right, I'd like to answer this question first, just real quick, because this actually happened to me literally like not last, or 2 semesters ago. So first semester of 11th grade. So I had a teacher, an AP teacher, that too, who was just a terrible teacher. Like maybe he's a great person, but he's a terrible teacher. And he was really bad at putting in grades. And the worst part was this happened to me right before winter break, and I was not here. I was in India at the time. So what happened was I did an assignment, and I was absent for a little bit because I got sick. And I did the assignment and I turned it in, but he wouldn't put the grade in the grade book, like at all. He just would not put it. I sent him like 10, 15, 20 emails considering this, like regarding this, and he just would not fix the grade. And so this is something you will definitely come across in high school. And if you don't, then like you probably did something wrong, because like you will at least encounter 1 or 2 teachers that are like really, really like annoying, and they're just like bad teachers in general. And the way I dealt with this was so the first thing I did was I scheduled a meeting with him. I was like, hey, can you get this done? Can you get this done like right now? And he said, yeah, I got it, I'll do it. And he never did it. And then I sent an email after email. I got the counselor involved and all that, and he still wouldn't do it. So the easiest way for you to like get past this scenario like this is go back to him, schedule an in-person meeting, and get it done right then and there. Whatever it is, get it done right then and there. Say he's not helping you with the, like, let's say you're struggling with the subject and your teacher is not helping you with that, get it done right then and there. Say, hey, I need this done right now. Like right now. It's okay to be assertive as long as you're polite, but by like don't be afraid to be assertive in if a teacher is being a bad teacher, because at the end of the day, they don't really care. I mean, it hurts you, it hurts you. You want to be assertive about things.
Yeah, I
Same
just wanted to
thing.
add to that
Probably
and say
that's the way
like
to
the
get
large
around
majority of
teachers.
teachers are pretty helpful. Like most of the teachers I've had have been pretty helpful and on point on stuff. You might come across a few teachers, and a few things you could do is, like I mentioned before, just don't give them the opportunity to take points off. Another thing you could try is try and make a personal connection with the teacher, because like if they don't see you as just any other student, they might be more responsive to when you're asking them questions.
Yeah.
For me, same thing with what happened to Anurag. I've had a teacher, so I moved mid-year from an IB curriculum, and I had a math teacher who really didn't care. He like told me I had a test in 2 days, and I came in new to the curriculum, new to the topics. I was confused, and he still made me take it, which I found very interesting. I sent him a few emails about it. He really didn't care. So I followed up with my counselor. I think she like gave me a good bonus on it. She helped me out. Same with what Anurag said, be assertive. So get it done right then and there. Don't like give them an opportunity to take you, like have something on you, right? It's like have assertiveness on it. And another thing that really helped me out is if you have a bad teacher, I had a math tutor who was also a college student. I think just like going with my counselor, going with my tutor about it, like just talking about it, doing problems with him, getting ready for tests, moving on. I think that helped me personally.
Yeah, and also I just like to reiterate the point of study groups again. If you don't have the teacher to help you out, the other best resource that you can have besides like outside tutors is really the other people like who are in your classroom. So with that, I think one thing that's important is I think like Arvin said, like not only just making a good connection with your teacher, but also making a good connection with your other classmates. Because if something goes wrong and the teacher's not there to help you, you can have like 3, 4, 5 other people there in that class or outside of it who are taking the same subject there to help you out. And so it's just like kind of like a backup plan to have, if the teacher's not there to help you out.
Gotcha. Before we transition on, Arvin and Kishore, according to the president of the biotech club, you guys are one of her, she really appreciates you guys. I just got some feedback from her when she found out about this. She really appreciates you guys for what you guys do. So I don't know what it is you're doing, but keep doing it. Anyways, let's move on. All right. How do you study for finals? Because that's probably one of the most difficult things we have to do as high schoolers.
Okay, for me personally, finals, really difficult, incorporates everything from whatever you've done throughout the grade into one test. For me, let's say teacher announces finals, I don't know, like 4 weeks before your actual finals happen. What I do is I schedule at least 1 week devoted to that topic of just revision back to back. Just like going through with my tutor or like going through with my friends. I think what I found effective was studying with friends. So getting on call with them, asking for questions back and forth. I think that really helped me personally. Also just help me just study with friends. I think that would be the best. If you don't feel comfortable with a teacher or an adult, I think just like go with your friend. Because usually you get more work done if you're with your friend doing this.
Yeah, another thing is so that like at the end of each semester, most likely you're going to have a final for that class. One thing that I've done is just kind of instead of like kind of waiting until that last month or so to just revise everything and cram all the like semesters worth of material in. I try to focus on like making sure I understand the concepts like from the very beginning, like throughout each test. Because if you think about it, each test that you have leading up to the final, it's like a checkpoint, right? You're going through those various checkpoints to get to the final test, right? So if you kind of try and nail in those concepts right then and there as you're going through the semester, then by the time you get to the finals time, like in that final few weeks, it's just going to be a lot less material for you to cover because you would have already known all that stuff and you would have remembered a lot more stuff than if you had just kind of coasted through the semester and then waited until that last like couple of weeks before finals to review everything.
Yeah, like to add on to that point, it's like studying for the finals begins like with the first day of school. You have to like understand every bit of the course. Like instead of like studying for the final as like one small crash towards the end, you have to like start with the foundation from the start of school. Like don't like slack off on like the first few tests thinking that they're not as weighted as the final and just try and like put all your eggs in that one basket. Instead, just like try and understand the content as like opposed to like memorizing it or trying to like cram it all into the final.
Yeah, and also another thing is like work efficient rather than work hard. Like I understand like you have all these finals and stuff, but like don't brute force it and try to sit and like study for every single final. Because like one thing I've noticed in my high school career is that some classes I'm just doing pretty well in overall. And like finals, your teacher will tell you how much percent the final is of your grade. And in situations like that, there's this thing called Roger Hub where you can put in your what like you can put in your current grade in the class, how much the final's worth, and it'll calculate and tell you what percent you need to get on the final in order to pass the class with an A. And really all you need is an A because colleges don't see the difference between an A minus, A plus, or an A. And A minus, A plus, or A doesn't, as long as it's an A, it counts the same towards your GPA. So in my opinion, right, the way I see it is I just study the areas that I know I'm like definitely very weak in. Don't study in your strong areas. Why would you waste your time doing that? Like study on your in your weak areas and study in for classes that you have a sort of lower grade instead. That way the final can't harm your grade anymore. So that's the way that I see studying. Like that's the way that I see prepping for finals and studying. It's like again, it comes back to prioritization. It's like, prioritize the final you need to study the most for and then go from there.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that. So this just serves for more like tests in general or like your final. So I think there's like two major categories. So there's like history and versus the others, like other STEM classes like science and math. So I believe for like science and math, the best thing to do is just practice, practice, practice. Whether that means like going through the textbook and doing extra problems, I feel like that's the best way to prepare for finals and tests for STEM classes. And personally, I'm not sure if I would advise this to everyone, but for most of my history classes, I never studied my notes. I'd go through the textbook, and because I'd already outlined that chapter previously, I'd sort of just look at the titles and make sure I knew every single thing within each one of those titles. And I'd also make a lot of use of the key terms at the end and make sure I could connect them to the other ones and understand the full meaning of each key term.
Also, it's like especially for AP classes, like Arvin was saying, like looking through the textbook. Another thing you could like do is if you know you're going to be taking like the AP test at the end of the year, like getting a prep book at like the start of the year could really help not only for the AP test but also for like just tests like in the classes because the AP test books a lot of times I found that they generally have like the most important material that you need to know for the AP test. And when it comes to AP classes, the biggest point of those classes is to prepare you for that test. So the in-class test as well would be lining up with the same material that's in the prep book. And a lot of the times, the prep book has that information a lot more condensed than the actual textbook that the school gives you. So it's just a lot more efficient and looking at that as well.
All right. Now, kind of like finals, right? There are going to be some days where you have a bunch of tests on the same day. I know I had that just recently on Friday. I had an English test, an AP World test, and a Chem test. So how do you study when you've got so many tests on the same day?
And what I do is in general, I study the night before, and I'd say like I'd study like one class's test like on the night before, and whichever class I didn't study, I'd probably do it the next day in the morning. Another thing is, you can leave some of the memorizing for before the class. I mean, we wouldn't necessarily recommend this, but you can make use of lunchtime or your flex if you have one of those before your tests.
Yeah, I actually, I'm in that situation. Like on Tuesday, I have like 3 tests on that day. So I think kind of when you know that, I guess you could kind of like leave like a couple of days, or generally I try to leave like one day each for like each subject and like go through each of those. Personally, that works for me. For some people, like that might not work because like you might maybe forget some of the material again. So just reviewing again right before. But again, it kind of goes back to another thing I do is like if I like the order of the classes, if I have like any time in between, then going through each of those subjects for like upcoming tests is also a good strategy as well, like Arvin said.
Yeah, same for me. I think what if I have multiple tests on one day, and if the teacher tells you like 2 weeks before or a week before that you have like a test, like few tests on the same day. I think for me, just like every day, just covering a little bit of that subject's topic and doing practice exercises usually helps me out because then like it kind of prepares me for what's going to be on the test. So yeah, just doing everything a little bit each day. You know, I mean, not cramming it all for the last night because if we do it for all for the last night, I know it personally won't work out. So yeah.
Yeah, like something else I wanted to add was that usually if you have multiple tests on one day, like suppose 3 tests, at least one of them is going to be something that's very like easy or simple that comes easily to you, and you can probably like study lesser for that. So like weigh your priorities and see which one you need to work harder on, and like divide and section off time based on that. And if you do have like multiple tests that are extremely hard, it's probably because you overworked your schedule and like haven't spaced out your time correctly. But like as long as you're being efficient with what you're doing, you can always space out time like let's say a week before the test in like sectioning off the time to do each and every subject.
You know what? I want to bounce right off that one. Speaking of hard classes, right? Like how APs, they're going to be some of the hardest classes you'll take, unless if you're definitely taking IBs, right? Heard about those? Wish I never had. Those are stuff nightmares. How important are taking APs? Like we've heard for a very long time, like you take 3, 5, 8 APs throughout high school. It's like you have to do this as an Asian, basically. Or you know what? If you just want to do well, if you want to get into a good school, you have to do it. How important are they, and are you disadvantaged by not taking them?
I mean, if you don't take an AP course in high school, there's like not really a disadvantage to it. I think what colleges may look for is if you do an AP course in high school, you know how AP kind of prepares you for college courses moving forward. I think what colleges look at is if you do AP courses, you're more ready for their classes coming in, and then you're not going to be like struggling when you come in. It doesn't really put you at a disadvantage. Just like I don't know, keep on top of your normal classes and don't be caught lacking behind, because if you keep lacking behind, college are obviously going to recognize that and they're not going to think you're ready. So yeah, pretty much.
I think
I
the most
saw
advantageous, or sorry, you got first.
Yeah, just real quick. So I think AP classes are pretty important, and if you're taking an AP class, make sure to do the AP test because it'll save you money in college when you get the credits for those classes. You might even be able to skip a year, and they also prepare you and expose you more deeply to most fields, unlike like other surface level classes.
Yeah, when it comes to like really like having an AP class that's like advantageous, like getting into colleges, I think you should like think about like kind of the specific area in which you want to go, and then like make sure you take AP classes for those subjects, especially because it'll just like make you stand out more. It'll prepare you more for that like specific subject. So I think in that regard, like if you're focusing on taking AP classes for the specific subject or more area of field that you want to study in college, then that'll be the most advantageous.
Yeah, like to bounce off that, I hear like people taking AP psychology just because it's a free AP class, but then once they get into it, they're like, oh my gosh, there's so much outlining to do. So I feel like the main significant thing is don't take AP classes because they're AP. Take AP classes because they're what you want to do.
Yeah,
All right,
adding on to
Anurag, do you have anything to
Kishore.
add to that?
Yeah, adding on to Kishore.
Or go
I
ahead.
think,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna
No.
try. I did IP psychology because I thought it was an easy AP course, and I ended up dropping it because obviously the workload's insane. Like, so our recent outline, we had to read 120 pages and do a whole outline on it. Like, obviously that's a lot of work for an individual who's doing a lot of other courses as well. So I thought it would best to be a drop in, but I know people who are struggling in the course. So like, don't like think an AP course is easy. Obviously, they're all hard in their own way. So yeah, be mindful.
Yeah, I'd say that there's no such thing as an easy AP. Now, yes, there are simple APs and more complex APs. Um, but yeah, like don't go into an AP thinking like, oh, this is gonna be like a easy AP. I'll be fine. Because if you do that, you're probably gonna not want you're not gonna like the course at all, and like you're gonna struggle through it for sure. And I also just saw in the chat that someone asked like, have any of you taken an ROP class? I have. Last year I took an ROP class, a business class, and ROP classes are actually really helpful. I got college credits for doing that ROP class because it lined up exactly with a community college class within California, Chabot College to be specific. And ROP classes are helpful because like I feel like they're a little bit more they're just a little bit more real world type classes. Like, you know, in a regular math class or whatever, like you're not really given real world scenarios. An ROP class kind of makes sure that you do like you practice your stuff in like a real world scenario. Like at least that's the experience I've seen in the ROP class that I took.
All right. I want to finish off with one final thing that's been on a lot of people, not just kids, but and primarily more so parents' minds. College counseling. What are your opinions on that? Do you guys have any? And if so, what's been your experience with that? Let's just go down the list if you guys want to. Anything you have a call?
So for me, I'm doing college essays right now. I have insane amount of college essays because I'm applying to very different colleges. So I'm a college essay counselor through another academy. He's been very helpful, obviously formatting what kind of essays I should work on, what colleges look to see. And then he also kind of helps me out on where I'm applying and how it's different for me. Obviously, just because I moved here, like I don't know how it works, especially, but I think it's been a great guidance. I can paste the link in the chat if you want to know where it is.
All right, Arvin.
Yeah, to add on to that, they know a lot of stuff that most people just aren't aware of. And like what there might be like rumors about what is better or what is worse. And they can really help set you on the right path. And I say get started as soon as possible. Don't wait until say like the start of senior year. Start looking for counselors like at like the December break of your junior year and just they help a lot with planning and other little things that you might not consider with your application.
Sure.
Yeah, I've also had a college counselor. It's been like an immense help to me. They help like help you with your essays, editing your essays, and they also help like plan on when to do your stuff and how. They also give you like an insight on like different types of colleges that you previously like hadn't considered. So I feel like they are extremely helpful. But if you aren't able to get a college counselor for some reason, it is still possible as long as you have your own like goals set in mind and you want to do everything as early as possible as opposed to like as late as possible as previously mentioned.
Got you, Lux.
Yeah, so I think if you if you want to get like college counselor, I think getting it maybe like during sophomore year or even junior year could be a big help because some of them are specifically tailored for essays and like college applications, but then others are like they kind of go through that like high school journey with you. And what they'll do is they will help you like plan out all the courses that you should take to help you, get into the college that you want. They'll open your eyes up to more extracurricular opportunities like internships as well. And then when it comes to like actually doing like the research and like for different colleges, they'll help you see like which colleges are best for your major. And then obviously with the essays, I think if you can't like get a college counselor, research is, I'd say, the biggest thing you could focus on is just researching just in general like the college admissions process, and then also researching like how to best get into a college that's suited to your needs and like the field that you want to get into. So I'd say that's probably the best thing you can do.
All right, and finally, Anurag.
Yeah, so I have a college counselor. He's been really, really helpful. And I actually, because COVID kind of messed up my entire, like, I guess, high school, college like that transitional journey. So, my college counselor, he kind of like, he kicked me into gear real quick. Like, I was kind of behind on like some like community college courses and stuff. He's like, here are 4 easy courses, do it this summer, knock them out and you'll be good. And like, I did that. And like, I'm pretty much up to speed now. And he's also been like really, really helpful with college essays. Like because of that, I'm done with my UC app. I've already gotten accepted to ASU because it's rolling admissions, and I'm halfway through my supplementals for college already. So like, and I'm applying to a good deal of colleges too. So he really put me on track really quickly. So I'd say like I'm really happy with the service this guy's been providing. His name is Jason, and he's from My Ed Prep College Counseling. It's in the chat. He's a really helpful guy, and the thing I really like about him is he splits it up. He has college stuff, and he has like your school stuff. He splits it up into two separate things, and he makes it like really, really like smooth and straightforward. Because his goal is to get you into the college you want to go to for the major you want, and sometimes that might not be a straight line. It might be a very crooked line. And so he helps you kind of navigate I guess, that crooked line to get to where you want to go. So yeah, his name's Jason, and he's from My Ed Prep College Counseling. If you're interested, he's a really helpful guy.
All right. Thank you guys so much for being here. It was great to have you guys and hear all these different perspectives from not just Foothill students as it was going to be originally, but also from DHS students, because you guys run things slightly differently than we do. Once again, thank you all for being here. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to direct them to me. I'll drop my email in the chat and I'll see if I can get them to some of them. All right. Or Nitin's dropped his number in the chat. So, yep. All right. With that, have a wonderful day.
Thank you.